Yes, sir. It's on my page. Yes,
All right,
sir.
good morning.
Everybody. Yo, this is Shakim. I'm with the one and only Elvin Speights,
Yes,
the
sir. Yes, sir.
activist man who has really been on the ground and done a lot for the community. Man, he's going to give us a lot of insight, a lot of tips, man. Everything, man. It's we've been in one of the most controversial times that I could ever remember. Elvin has been out on the forefront, but I want to first and foremost, I want to play a clip because I made a post the other day, and Elvin, you could comment on this, but I want to play. I'm gonna play this clip that was very disturbing, and I'm gonna just hold on. Let me just play the clip because
Yeah, yeah.
I
Let's see what it is.
yeah I posted about this the other day, and yeah, I'm gonna go to the clip. Just
Chaos at Trump Tower as this woman was seen defacing the Black Lives Matter mural. Watch as two cops do what they can to restrain her as she smears the paint with her bare hands.
They say they care about black lives, and they're saying to defund the police.
Then this happens. One officer slips on the greasy paint. As the officer winces in pain, the woman identified as Bevelyn Beatty doesn't stop.
They don't care. They don't care.
Beatty was charged with criminal mischief and released several hours later, only to go right back at her mischief, this time at the Black Lives Matter mural in Harlem.
We're taking our country back.
The Black
okay. So let me say something about this. I am
Wow.
the left and the right are playing a big game right now. A big game.
Wow.
Listen, first, let me say it like this. The people who are in the movement trying to really fight for change, whether it's, policy, grassroots, on the ground, organizing, these individuals are being overshadowed by people like Miss Beatty who are seeking to be viral sensations. Viral sensations. I don't see them supporting any solutions. I mean, right now, all I got to do is run the Trump Tower, put some paint on a mural, and I'm a hero. I'm a viral sensation overnight. Everybody looks at me like I'm a hero. I didn't accomplish. What did I really accomplish? What are they accomplishing by doing these things? Elvin, you want to answer that?
Well, you know what it is, Bubba. And I got the echo. So, hold on. You
All right.
don't hear the echo, Ken?
No, I don't hear you echoing.
All right. So this is what it is. If you get out here right now and scream, you hate Black Lives Matter, scream pro-Trump and be black, somebody gonna make you famous. They're gonna send you a check. I mean, that's what a lot of them doing. Like you say, they get sensation. You get the popularity. You get shared. The people who hate, the racist Trump supporters love you. The racists love you. They feel like you're on your side. You're saying what they couldn't say without getting no heat, and they support you. They mail you a check. All you gotta do is sell out your people. That's basically what it comes down to.
Right. So what do you feel? What do you feel about? Yeah. So we've been having a lot of protests here lately, especially with the Confederate monuments and things like this. I know you've been very vocal, in the past about, solution oriented, being proactive. What's your perspective on a lot of these protests with, Confederate monuments?
See, I don't want to knock. I've talked to the brothers, right? And I understand what they said they're trying to do. They're trying to bring attention to the injustice and bring attention to racism in South Carolina, and they're doing it through the flaggers, right? At this point in the game, man, I guess I have to say, if that's the strategy, that's fine. That's what they're doing. I mean, I don't want to say too much because I don't want us to seem like we bashing them, but just that's what they're doing. That's their strategy. That's fine. What I don't want to see is this: they got a lot of dedicated soldiers who come out for them and who battle with them every week. I don't want to see them get caught up. I don't want to see everybody get arrested. I don't want to see nobody get hurt. That's what I don't want to see. You know what I'm saying? Because those same dedicated soldiers that are coming out and bashing for the flag, we very well may need them on a bigger issue coming up when school starts, coming up down the line. You see what I'm saying? We very well may need them to be ready to call. So if that's what they're doing, man, like I told them, if that's how he's going to do it, that's fine. I personally don't care about the flaggers. That's me. But I'm always say that's their right, First Amendment right, whatever the case is. I don't care about the flaggers. The flaggers to me are people who have nothing better to do on a Sunday morning than stand out there and wave the Confederate flag. My life busy enough. I got better things to do on my Sunday morning than to be waving a flag. I just, hey, that's them. Like I say, what we have to get to is this, Shakim. This is the biggest thing. Freedom of speech is the First Amendment. The right to assemble peacefully is also in the First Amendment. You don't have to like what someone is doing, but you have to respect their right. You can't, you see what I'm saying? You don't have to like it. And that's why I always say, I don't care about their message. I don't care, like the flaggers. I don't care about their message. I don't care what they believe the flag believes of them. I just respect their right. That's what you care to do on Sunday morning. So be it. Okay. What did the brother say, brother? What did he say?
Jason said we are bringing awareness to the police bias from the police department.
Okay. Well.
So how is it? So do you agree with that statement that the protesting the flag and the flaggers? Do you agree that's bringing awareness to the injustices in the police department?
It's okay. So what I've seen is this, right? The police department has been, and I'm just being fair. This is not taking no side. The police department, whatever, if the permit thing came out where, they've been trying to get a permit and the flaggers had a permit, then that's very well a good point. That, yeah, how did they get a permit and these guys didn't, and they've been trying before? That's a very good point. But on the other side of that, the police have been fair with them as on locking up people who violated each other's First Amendment rights. You see what I'm saying? They did lock up the guy with the kid with the pole, but they lock up the other. Now, the police department did not go after him. The two kids that hit that struck the guy who hit them with the pole, the man pressed his own charges against them. You know what I'm saying? So the police had to respond to it. But from what I've seen, the police has been pretty patient. And I'll give you an example. This is what I saw with my own two eyes. When I was there this Sunday, the cop told them that the people had a permit and they had to go, right? And at first they told them, no, we weren't going to go. They were going to stand. And if the cops really want to be a bunch of jerks about it, they very easily could have just came out and said, okay, and start locking people up. But they were very patient. They were very, talking. They were trying to get to a resolution before it got to that point of, hey, we just want to lock everybody up. You get what I'm saying? If the cops want to be a bunch of jerks about it, they could have been like, hey, guess what? We told y'all to move. Now we come and lock everybody up. So,
all right. So I did actually invite Jason on to talk about his point because he's talking about, bringing awareness. So Jason or Justin, if you want to come on and hold on and talk about your point, feel free to hold on. Really quick. So I sent Justin or Jason. If any of y'all want to come in and talk about your point, feel free to do so with Elvin. So when we start, so my whole thing is this, right? Looking at I'm trying to hold on, Jason. Check your inbox, Jason. Jason, check your inbox, Jason. Jason, check your inbox. It is in your inbox, sir. Jason, please check your fake. There it is. I sent the link, Jason. You just saw it. Click that link. Click that link, Jason, and you can come right on in. Because I'm here. We both here. I sent both of y'all the link. I sent it to both of y'all. I'll put it in the comments if I have to. Yeah, I even put it in the comments for you, just in case you didn't get it.
Yeah, it's
I
there.
put it.
It's there.
Yeah, you see it in the comments.
Yeah, it's in the comments. It's in the
But
comments.
if y'all didn't get it, there it is. There it is in the comments. So you can grab it from there. So either one, you pop in. I got it. I put the link in the comments for you both. So one of my
All right.
one of my questions is, and you know, Elvin, as being an activist in this city for a long time and have been involved in the fight for quality education, you stood up with many issues with like the law enforcement issue with the young men with the rose flowers, the palmetto roses. Um, do you feel that what's happening now with the Confederate monuments and flaggers, do you think that somehow takes away from the real issues or what you would refer to as real issues that you've been fighting? Do you feel that kind of takes away some of the focus?
No, actually, I don't. I don't. I mean, the way I see it is though, like I said, man, I try not to infringe on people's rights, and they're making a point. I mean, to some people, just because let me get it in better words. Just because I don't care about the statue and the flaggers doesn't mean it doesn't bother anybody else. Let me say it like that. I just don't care about it. I mean, they've been out there. I guess to me, and like because of what we do, I just don't care about the flaggers. They're not a threat to me. They're not somebody who I would go after. I like to go after the big fish. Nobody on that battery can influence any laws. But I will say this. They had a committee meeting down here about 2 days ago about the Confederate monument and pushing for more laws to protect. See, I would have liked to storm that. That's where I would have stormed. I would have stormed that meeting because everybody who makes a decision and who has something to say was sitting to that table. See, that's where I storm. Those flaggers don't have no powers. You're gonna go home. You're gonna belittle them. You're gonna shut them up, and then they go home hating you. You go home hating them, and nothing's achieved. If you want to see the statues and stuff removed, if you want to put a dent in the Confederate monuments and what they mean down here, go after the people who signed the laws to protect them. I would have been sitting to their table. They were down here 2 days ago. They were either in Columbia or in South Charleston, but they were down here trying to get a bill passed. I would have stormed them. Now again, that's just me. So I'm not knocking what the brothers do. I mean, hey, they chipping away at it. They going at it the way they feel, and that's them. I just don't care about the Confederate flaggers that much.
Right.
I care about my Sundays.
Okay. Hey, Jason, you got what's going on? You got a lot of background.
All right, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna get out for a sec. I'm gonna mute myself for a second. Y'all go ahead. I'm about to get out. I'll be right here though. I'll be right here.
Hey, Jason.
Can you hear me, bro? Yo, can you hear me?
You got a lot. You got a lot of feedback.
Let me kill the headset. Hold on.
Okay.
All right, is that better, brother?
Oh, much better. Much better.
All right.
Okay. So peace, brother.
What's going on, man?
Man, I'm doing wonderful. So I was just talking to Elvin about his concern about the issue with the flaggers and the monuments and things like that. From his perspective, he was basically saying that he feels like a lot of time can Justin, you got to mute your phone, you got a lot of feedback in there.
Hey, yo, Jay, mute out, bro.
Justin, he got a lot of feedback. All right, so Justin got a lot of feedback. I think what's happening is you're playing I don't know. It's like you're something going on in the background, Justin. But so you heard what Elvin said. You heard what basically his argument was. He's saying that essentially he's not saying that with knocking anybody for what they're doing, but in a sense he's saying, hey, I think time could be better spent. You're saying that you're bringing okay to build on that.
All right, so no, to an extent, I do agree. I agree to an extent. And I was trying to explain to y'all when we were out there Sunday, this for Justin, for myself, this wasn't our original movement. So this is Greta's movement, and I support wholeheartedly what she's doing. That's why I said to an extent, I agree. I support what she's doing. She's been out there for the years, battling back and forth with these guys. Her whole end game is to have the flags removed from the city because she feels, and a lot of people do feel, that it's disrespectful. That flag stands for a lot of things, most of not what they're out there screaming. Now to build on that, I got involved after the young brother got assaulted out there a couple weeks ago. I went out there the day of the assault and jumped into it to make sure that the young brother saw some justice with the man getting arrested. That was on the fly end of everything. I don't think I got out there until like 1 o'clock that day. The follow-up movements. So the following Sunday after that, we were out there. We came out in numbers to show support for Caleb and his issue, his case. And then the police changed the game. And when I say they changed the game, they started restricting on First Amendment rights. They're hiding behind the state of emergency right now in South Carolina, and they're using that to increase police power, police presence, police say-so. And, I mean, it was to the point where they were telling people they couldn't walk across the street from the battery till the flaggers were done. That's what last week was about. That's this past Sunday was about. That's when we went out there and decided to capture that monument and hold the police accountable to the same standards. And when they felt they couldn't be held accountable to the standards, and I'll call them out, Lieutenant Jason Bruder, who was the only person to sign in what you call it for the city, permits for the city, Jason Bruder from Charleston Police Department rushed them a doggone permit. We actually applied for a permit for that the week prior, and he denied ours. And when we had our admin girl call in about why the denial went through, he told her that he would not sign ours over theirs because they've been there for 5 years. So that's the evolution of that story. And that's where our fight is at right now.
Right. So, I think they're saying there's something wrong with the audio. Everybody keeps saying something with the audio. So, that's what Maddie just said, and Raymond. So if y'all can hear me, let me know. If y'all can hear, or if worst case scenario, and we need to get everybody in a better environment and have this again, then we could continue. But so Justin, yeah, you got yourself on mute, Just. So Just, what you got a lot of background.
You still got a lot of feedback?
Yeah, you got a lot of feedback.
Let me try to call back in.
Okay. All right, Justin said Justin gonna come back in when it's better. Okay. So Jason, I'm gonna play a clip, right, that I saw that was real interesting, and I want you to give your perspective on this. I just thought this was interesting. I was watching it the other day.
I will fiercely advocate that we focus on realistic, rational, and responsible solutions, not political gestures or pandering or political posturing.
Defunding happens as proposed. SPD says it'll lose about 1,000 employees, more than half of its workforce. The cuts would also impact everything from 911 calls to criminal investigations. Take a look at the current investigative units that could be cut, like the burglary and gang units, in addition to the harbor unit, traffic unit, and SWAT team.
I care deeply about this city. I care deeply about all of you. And just like you, I want to make Seattle a better place.
Now, anybody.
So what do you think about that, the defunding the police? That was actually the police chief in Seattle, and she was talking about defunding the police and where specific cuts would be made. Are you in favor of that here locally, as far as the defunding the police and moving the funds in other areas?
I'm going to tell you that I'm in favor of smarter funding for the police department. I think that you're going to see some of the aspects of the overfunding come into play as the SWAT team and outside forces start taking over the city on the policing. I will tell you that in the outer lining townships and cities, Somerville, North Charleston, Goose Creek, they definitely are overfunding their police departments.
Okay.
So that's a two-sided sword, but I'm not going to cut my leg off and say completely defund and restrict all funds to the police department. But I will say that if those funds are better allocated into better resources for the communities, whether it be funneling them into better community policing, whether it's into funneling into, a better racial bias for the police officers, racial education, racial sympathy, something along those lines, it may improve the way that the city looks as a whole and the black communities inside the cities.
Okay. Yeah, I actually had that. I had it muted while I played that last clip, so you didn't hear it. I didn't realize I had it on mute. But
yeah, no, I caught the tail end of it, so I got the gist.
Oh, okay. So, Elvin, what do you think about that concept?
I'm gonna tell you a story that happened to me, right? And we haven't even made any cuts yet. When I got in that accident must have been 3 weeks ago. Remember, I got in a truck accident, right? I called 911 3 times. No one answered the phone. Right? I called 911 3 times. No one answered the phone. Finally, an EMT rolled by, and I flagged him down, and he hit dispatch and got the police out there. When the police was already out there, 911 called me back. This is crazy now. I'm calling 911. I'm calling the emergency hotline. They called me back. So I asked the lady, she was asking me the questions, typical questions. Everybody okay, blah, 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 blah. So I asked her, why the hell can't y'all answer the phone? What's going on? And she told me straight up, we're short staffed. She's like, we're short staffed. She told me straight up. Now imagine, I'm calling for a car accident, right? Imagine I was calling because I was being robbed, raped, being chased, being held kidnapped. You know what I'm saying? Imagine. So when I'm not for, I get it. These cops need training. I'm all for getting rid of the chokehold. I'm all for getting rid of non-lethal force when the person is not lethal not in lethal danger. I'm all for it. But I'm not really for the fact of getting rid of the cops or cutting the funds where we would have less cops. Let's get rid of the bad cops and just and bring in good cops. If you cut the funding, if you cutting the funding, yeah, you get rid of the bad cops, but where's the money come from to hire new? I mean, just look at Charleston right here. Last week we had 7 people shot, 8 people shot and killed in Charleston County. We had 1 person shot at the Waffle House, 4 injured in North Charleston. And I'm just naming, and I ain't even talking all of Charleston County. I'm talking downtown, Savannah Highway, and Montague Avenue. I ain't even talking the whole North Charleston. If we included the whole North Charleston or all the violence for everywhere else, it'd probably be more. So, I'm real skeptical when I say let's defund, let's retrain. Definitely need more training. Sensitivity training is definitely needed. Let's go after the bad cops. I got no problem with that. A citizens review board would be great for that. Every time some charges is brought up against a cop, he has to go in front of the citizens who can come out and say, look, this is what it is, and make a decision on, by his peers on his actions. I'm all for that. But from me personally, like I said, from a personal experience, from what I just been in 3 weeks ago, when I'm calling 911 3 times and I had to get called back 20 minutes later because they don't have enough personnel to answer the phone. These kids, thank God I wasn't tied up in the back of somebody's trunk trying to reach out for help.
Right. Justin, what's going on, Josh?
What up, King? You doing?
Man, I'm doing all right.
What's good?
Okay. So, man, you definitely have been playing a major part in, standing up against racism in the city, right? That's wonderful, and I think that's actually warranted and that's actually needed. Highlighting injustices and figuring out how we can move forward is very, very, very monumental. And I think we got to continue to stay on that path and continue to keep that. We did have different a lot of different issues with just say Elvin. He gave his opinion on how basically the monument issue should not, from what he was saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, Elvin. He said it really is not a concern. It's not an important piece of the puzzle right now as far as a response to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. He's basically saying that he feels like it just kind of came out of nowhere and is basically a deflection, and it doesn't address what the movement additionally started or birthed from, the issues. What's your take on that?
Okay. I want to make it clear that it's not about the monument. Yes, we are protesting at the monument. We are protesting against the flaggers. But I think that the awareness that's going on right now is that we're not addressing the issues on their game. We're addressing the issues on ours. And what I mean by that is the Confederates have a lot more pull than we think. They have a lot more pull in our police systems. They have a lot more pull in our political system. So all the monument is doing.
Hey, y'all, does his audio sound messed up to y'all, or y'all can hear him?
Nah, he's cracking up.
Yeah, your audio, bro.
I can hear him. I can hear him.
You can hear him?
Yeah. Listen. So let me state this, team. I don't know if y'all can hear my background. That's why I keep muting myself. So let me state this. I don't think at all that what they're doing is a waste of time. I don't think that at all. I think that, like I said, every chip away of the puzzle helps. Every chip away the puzzle helps. What I don't want is, like I said, what I don't want, and I told Jason, I just don't want them to get in any confrontation to where we lose soldiers on the ground. And I said that to Jason. I said that to Justin. I don't want them to get in any confrontation where we lose soldiers on the ground, because he does have a base of people that will go hard. We need that. We all gonna need that. So I don't have a problem with the brother doing. I just don't want them to get in no confrontation where they're getting locked up. We trying to bail, because what happens is when we need the army together, well, we got this one in legal trouble. We got this one over here. This one locked up. You dismantle the team. You know what I'm saying? I don't want y'all to have to deal with that. And now, as far as protesting, me, like I said, that's me personally. The flaggers, I just don't care about them. But your movement of what you're doing, hey, get it. I told you, get it. You know what I'm saying? Get the movement of what you're doing. I don't care about the flaggers.
Hey, Elvin, I'm gonna jump in on that real quick, and I'm just gonna say, like, one more time, just in case my audio was messed up earlier. I support Greta's movement and Rita's movement on the flaggers, support-wise. But our numbers are going out there, and like you said, our movement's just a little bit different because we're keying in on the factors inside of the city that are going to affect everybody from the city every single day. If the police department is showing this type of bias in relationship with the flaggers, and they can go to the police department and get whatever they want from them, i.e. that permit that just popped up out of thin air, then how do you think they treat brothers on the streets? What do you think happens when a Karen calls in on a brother on the streets? You know, that bias still shows through there. That's the fight right now, and we're not just fighting it at that monument. I've got a whole lot going in the background. We got a ton going in the background. I'm not going to disclose anything right now because we're coming back, and we're coming back, and we're coming back, and we're holding the department accountable for their actions and their change of the rules that they had come up.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I you know, when you brought that and you showed me that Sunday, you know, I asked the question too, and I even reached out to people in the mayor and was asking, like, how did that happen? I was asking that question. How did that happen? If they were applying for a permit and then one group gets one and one that doesn't, then I wanted to know too. And okay. I even said.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask y'all this. Okay, so the city did a racial audit. City did a racial audit a couple of months ago, and we already know that there has been issues in policing in the city of Charleston. That's when you say that, we're exposing a lot of the issues that the issues have already really got exposed. So what I'm trying to figure out, is the solution. Like what's the solution? I mean, because we've exposed so many things. I mean, all the information has been there. It's laid out. It's right there. The girl said the audit
Right.
was trash, but the audit really wasn't trash because the audit actually said exactly what everybody really knew. So
Right. No,
the audit
bro.
basically backed up the same thing you're saying now. So the thing is, and I just want to get a big picture understanding from you. What do you think? How do you think this is bringing about the solution? Because exposure is already there. We understand fundamentally what has happened. But now, how can we dig in and start bringing about the solution?
Okay, I got you. So those of
Okay.
us that actually took the time to sit down and look at that audit, those of us that have been involved enough to understand where that audit was going and the words that the audit was pressing, we do know. We've known. They see it. We see it in the streets every day anyway. And you're right. And it took an audit to bring mild awareness to the area. But when we go out there and we put it in everybody's face, hey, look, this is your bias. We had the audit and you're still doing the same thing. When we bring it out to the media and go, hey, look, this is why we're here. This is what they've done to us. And that was just a little fluff piece on ABC. We've got a lot more coming for them. But when we bring it to the faces of everybody that wanted to ignore the audit, be it whether you just don't care enough because your situation you feel like doesn't tie you to it, or you're just not educated enough to see what the words in that audit really meant, well, we're showing you real life. We're going to test those lines. We're going to show you the real life examples of this audit and what it brought out and what it was saying. And more than that, we're holding the officers on the ground accountable. We're holding their command staff accountable. And we're going to expose all the ones on the way up there that are involved in these audits. I got cards and cards and cards with names and badge numbers, bro. Like, this is not just to go out there and yell and scream at some flaggers. And it's an open awareness picture. So while you may have read that audit and understood it, I challenge you to take it out in the streets and see how many people actually read it.
Well, so this is the thing, right? This is one of the issues, and it wasn't a bad issue because I respect a lot of people in Kajam or Cajun, whatever they call it. So I respect Nelson Rivers. I respect him, Gerard Frazier. Those brothers. I respect them, and the good brothers and good sisters like Treva, and I understand where their heart is. You got Paul. So there's a lot of good people who put their input in, and even Dixon. But my whole thing is, where does the accountability issue come in at? Like, I remember when Muhyiddin and I were really involved in the Black Lives Matter Charleston and trying to really get it shaping. One of the things that we wanted to do and fought for was a Citizens Review Board. And we wanted the Citizens Review Board to have subpoena power. And a lot of people kind of really brushed us off in the beginning, said we were kind of too radical in our thought, whatever the case may be. But our method was a direct confrontation with the mayor, city council. We went directly to those in power and spoke to them and translated our requests to let them know that this is what we wanted. We wanted, a citizens review board to be set up. We wanted, we wanted transparency and oversight over the police department. And we went down there and we directly brought it to their front door because we felt that was the most effective way for them to hear us. When we got into doing things like civil disobedience, we went and after Walter Scott, one of the first things we did is block Remount Road. We didn't want any traffic to go through there. We wanted to actually move forward and bringing things to the forefront and trying to get things established. So we did get a citizens review board, but it wasn't what we wanted, right? It wasn't what we wanted. So the thing is, how do we put together and let the people who are in power, how do we hold them accountable and talk to them directly, because and I'm gonna let you answer, because I love the dialogue and I think it's wonderful. How do we go?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I want to say something too. Go ahead.
How do we take these issues and bring it home to Mayor Tecklenburg, to the city council, who has the ability to vote and make these things happen, to give us what we say we want?
All right, so what you're saying is very true, and it does need to get in front of the people and make the decisions. Those doors have been open slightly to us, but right now the gates are wide open. I do have meetings set up this week with the powers to be, from the deputy chief, the chief, the operational excellence officer, or the officer's excellence officer, which is their internal affairs, as well as we've got a resource reaching out right now to the mayor's office. We're going to start holding city council accountable for it. And on top of all of that, we are looking at what you have already put in place, and we're trying to get phase 2 of that up and going. So there's like I said, there's a whole lot behind the scenes. We're not just on the street screaming and shouting.
Most definitely. Justin, you got your audio is, bro. I don't know. Your audio is like on life support right now, bro.
Right. So
you guys still can hear me?
I can hear you a little better.
So I
can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead, Elvin. You can hear Justin?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Go ahead, Justin. Let's hear what you got to say, because we haven't heard from you.
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna speak real quick. So the answer to that question is that it's not time yet. Again, we understand this, and as far as SA1, we can make demands to Mayor Tecklenburg. We can make demands to the police chief. However, when you put them in a position with their backs against the wall, they are more willing to listen. What I mean by that is, we can go there, we can write reforms, we can tell them our demands, but when the youth shows up, 200, 300, it's a different type of atmosphere. It's a different type of awareness to where they have to address it. We are going out there so they're exposed to where they have to answer. Not to the point where we have to beg for an answer. Not to the point where we have to request an answer. To the point where we are following the rules legally. To the point where we are obeying the law, yet exposing the law. So to answer your question, we can't make the demands until we put them in that position.
So let me ask the question, because you and I have spoken, and I've heard from the mayor himself. He said that and you told me yourself that he asked you what it is you wanted, right? Like, he's reached out to you and asked you what it is you wanted. Didn't I believe you told me that, Justin? When I asked you and I was speaking on the phone, and I asked you what's your end game, and you told me, and I asked you, and you said that the mayor too has asked you that same question. Did I get you right? Hello? Is he there? I don't know. I might have lost him. Okay, so when me and Jason, he's still here?
Yeah, he's there. He's on mute.
Okay.
He's there.
All right, so I just want to make sure I got him right, because, you know, okay, so I just want to use me and Shakem's example. When we banned for the Rose Kid pedal, for the kids on the roads, we went one day, Sunday, and we went out there with the bullhorns, and we was screaming on the market, and we was protesting, and we was screaming, and the mayor called Monday. Wasn't it like the next morning? That was a Saturday, and he was calling Monday?
Nah, that was a couple weeks.
Okay, a couple weeks. So, you know, was it that long?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks. We protested about a couple weekends in a row.
Okay, so yeah, a couple weekends. So I guess this is where I'm at right here. I'm trying to think I can word this. I just want to make sure if he's saying that the mayor has already called him, and Jason, are you there?
I'm here, sir.
All right. Have you heard any contact from anybody from City Hall asking what your demand is and what do you want to see done?
No, I personally have not.
Okay, so I guess we need to get Justin back on, because I spoke to Justin on the phone yesterday. Me and Justin was talking on the phone either yesterday or the day before, and we were talking about his end game and what he wanted to see done and how he wanted to go. And he mentioned to me, I'm pretty sure what he said is that the mayor had already reached out. Someone from city had reached out to him and asked him what it is they wanted.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then I feel like, hey, if you got them right now asking you, is he back? Is he back?
Yeah, I'm here. You guys hear me?
Yeah, Justin. All right, so Justin, did you hear me? Did you hear what I said?
Okay. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I heard everything you said.
All right, so isn't that what you said?
To answer that, I did. And, again, we told him specifically, some of the demands that we wanted. However, if I go to the mayor and I tell him the demands that he wants, there's a chain of command everywhere. He's going to pass it down to the police. He's going to pass it down to the police chief. And he's going to pass it down to the police systems that are beneath him. If there are toxic people in those positions, what is the word?
So
how can we depend on mayor if there are toxic people in that position? Let me give you an example. Bruder, the captain that has the authority to give permits. His answer, his level of authority is the mayor. Okay? We exposed Bruder because we did our research and we made sure that there was no permit. They threatened us with that permit at 7 a.m. We got there at 4 a.m. We refused to move. All of a sudden, 4.5 hours later, there's a permit signed by Bruder. I want you guys to think that we don't have a plan of action to expose it. We have receipts, we have emails, and everything like that, to where we can literally prove that Bruder signed that permit that day. So again, if we go to the mayor and we make a request, but we've got people in power that give the privilege to other folks, it's almost like we're wasting our breath. Compared that if we expose Bruder to the fact that he does side with these people and show him, I just feel like if we can show that, our results and our demand for change are going to be a lot more effective.
Have you spoken to Bruder yet?
That's what I'm saying.
Have you?
Yeah, and I'm gonna speak for SA1. I know we have.
Justin, you got Justin, your audio.
Have a permit.
Your audio, bro, is horrible.
I know it sucks.
Man, bro, you got to fix it.
It's always horrible. It's always.
So
can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's so cranky and yeah, the connection. We struggling, bro.
Yes, I got you. I know where you're going with this.
Jason can speak for me. Jason, okay. Jason, thank you. Thank you.
I got you. So what he's saying and what he's trying to get at is we're trying to work through the proper chain of command that they have set up. So what he was highlighting out there was we have a target now inside of the department to show what it is that we're out there protesting for, that racial bias, that unequal treatment. Now we have our target. Now, to go back to your questions, Elvin, yes, I have a call coming from the chief's assistant in the morning. I can't remember her name is. I have a call coming from the internal affairs officer in the morning, and I have a call coming from the mayor's office in the morning. As well as a one-on-one with Mr. Bruder if he really wants to talk to me. But what we're trying to set up right now.
And see, exactly, and that's what I'm getting at. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. When one thing I learned in this game is when you get them to respond to you, you're making movement. When when they're taking time out, when they're coming, reaching out to you, and they're responding, and they want to find out what it is you want, you're making moves. Because a lot of times they just blow you off and they just don't care. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that y'all getting their attention and y'all calling them out, hey, Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back. That goes back to what Justin was saying about the numbers.
Let me answer something. Let me answer something really quick that Michelle's saying, right? And I want to debunk this. She said, "Y'all do know this live, right? This is like telling the enemy we're coming to get them." Let me tell you where that's like one of the biggest misconceptions there is. This is not a secretive, covert action. Right now, this is something. This is something. See, you have covert actions and you have overt actions. See, a lot of times you need, when you're facing an enemy like this or a system like this, you need public displays of unity. You need numbers. We've never. Matter of fact, let me. I want to play something really quick. It's quick, but all of y'all remember this.
Good evening, all. I've seen you a couple times in a lot of different kind of formats. Sometimes I'm very angry. Sometimes I'm very expressive. Sometimes I'm very calm. Sometimes I can speak like a litigator, and sometimes I speak like a protester. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. I need you to understand what that means. In a democracy, the people they run their democracy. This is not a corporation. You are not a CEO. Just so you know, when we're approaching you as people we are entrusting to actually take our concerns into consideration and do something about that. Honestly. So when we come to you and say, right after Walter Scott's killing, we need a citizens review board with subpoena powers. Let's just talk about that. Let's just open up a discussion. Let's just imagine a world in which people that live in a community that trust somebody to walk around with a gun have the power to say, hey, you're intimidating my children. A matter of fact, you're intimidating 3 or 4 other people's children. We need to have the power to summon you to court and say, officer, under oath, why are you engaging in this practice? We need to have the ability to have these officers understand that we want to oversee them with the trust and transparency that they oversee us. That's a citizens review board. That's what we do. We establish trust. It's a place, it's a mechanism for trust to be built. For our demonstrations to go in vain is something that's not going to happen. And contrary to what Councilman Bobby Jameson has said, and the quote, let's have the facts come out. That demonstration out here has nothing to do with the city of North Charleston. It has to do with the show that they want to put on to the black community across the nation. Now, this is a quote from Councilman Bobby Jameson from District 3. With this quote, we understand that there's people sitting on this board right now who do not have the sensitivity to understand and to feel the rage and the passion that has been building up for generations of harassment and terrorism by a police force. We would like a citizens review board, an ability to actually establish some legitimacy and trust with an institution that has historically and continually abusing its power. What more examples do you need? If you would like peace in this city, if you would like Black Lives Matter, Charleston, if you would like this group of wonderful, intelligent youth that are growing up and living in your community. I graduated from Academic Magnet, like right down the street. Why would I ever assume I have to come and talk in this kind of tone to people that are supposed to represent me? This is unnecessary. Citizens Review Board with subpoena powers. Think about it. Each one of you, I will be coming up, or somebody else will be coming up, and we will start to pick out each one of you and bring up wonderful facts and quotes like Brother Bobby Jameson. And we will make this a show that's not really going to be a productive show.
Your time
and
is
we will
up.
continue escalating.
Your time
I need
is
you to
up.
understand this, y'all. Your time is up, Mayor Sumner.
Well, that's fine.
Is that a threat?
You can give me all your idle threats you want. I don't care. All right.
Next is Colleen.
I just wanted to play that. You know, shout out to Muhyiddin, man. Rest in peace.
Peace to Mu.
Yes, yes. And I wanted, to put that out there because this is something, these issues, you're gonna have to stand together. We need unity. We need, we have to speak to people in power to let them know, this is what we want. We have to be loud and vocal with our demands. So, I wanted to say that because it's not like, we're doing, and these videos we used to put out would go viral. I mean, every time we went down to City Hall, we got a viral video. You go back and check my views in City Hall, man, we got 300,000, 400,000. Bro, we just shooting out viral videos. But at the end of the day, the progress was very slow, and we had to chip away, and chip away. So I just want to say
let me say something, Keem. That on that video, right? Did you see how empty the stands was? Like, who was there?
There you go. There you
know
go.
what I'm saying? That was one of the biggest problems. Who was there? So you were here.
Well, let me tell y'all a quick story. And I probably never told too many people that. And this would almost be like letting the enemy, not really the enemy, but so a lot of times we would not tell people when we were going to City Hall. Because when we actually went, somehow people would have a long, the next thing you know, we only got 30 seconds for comments. So I don't know if that's Elvin's, but sometimes we wouldn't tell people that we were going because somehow we would have 30 people sign up to speak when people knew we was coming. All of a sudden they say, you know what, we're going to limit public comments to 30 seconds. So a lot of times we kind of had to move without saying nothing because mysteriously 30 people done signed up to speak. So we kind of had to keep that on the low when we was going sometimes. So that's why we started putting out videos because it had just as much effect as, letting having people to come. But that was only sometimes. Sometimes a show of force is necessary. So it all really depends. It's like the art of war. So yes, there are times you need a lot of people to come. Sometimes it was a sneak attack, but
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
First of all, thank y'all for having me. This has been a great discussion. I've been watching it from my phone, and I wanted to get in because I always enjoy talking to Elvin and Shakim. And peace, brother Jason. I haven't met you yet, but I hope to meet you soon in the future, man. I want to point out a couple of things. One, this dialogue needs to happen. Shakim made a point earlier that this is not a covert operation. And the truth is that the more these discussions are happening and we're realizing that we're actually more on the same page than we think, the better it is for the larger community and the more we'll be able to come together, because people will see these conversations happening and then they'll say, how can I become a part of those discussions? That's how you grow a coalition. I wrote down 3 points of things that we have to make sure that we're doing, right? One, we have to make sure that we're coming together. We have to come together in the areas that we can, right? But coming together also realizes acknowledging that our way of doing things isn't the only way that things need to be done. There's so many sectors that we need to have. There's so many sectors that we need improvement in, especially when you talk about the African American, Black community, oppressed people in our country. That to say that, I've heard Barack Obama say this. I've heard Michael Eric Dyson say this. I've heard all of them say it's more than just one thing. We can't say the solution is a political solution. There's no one political solution that's going to solve all these problems. Protesting, there's no one protesting solution that's going to solve all these problems. Education, there's no one education solution that's going to solve all these problems. So everybody has to point to run in their own lane. Right, we have to respect everybody's individual ability to run in their own lane. Shakim, you do a great job of getting out there, making sure that when people need food, you provide immediate assistance. I need food right now. Yeah, I want to protest with you and everything, but right now we're starving. Right now we're starving. So you and Lewis Smith Community Resource Center, y'all do that kind of thing. Y'all identify that there's a need for technological advances that are not available in low income areas. So y'all put together a community center where they can come in and they can get technical assistance, meaning they can have access to computers and they can have access to these different things that they don't have access to. You provide a space for people in the community to come and interact and know that as a center. That's why the free lunch place was so important when we were younger, because in the summers, if you couldn't get food anywhere else, you knew you could go to that little storehouse in the middle of the park and you could get you a meal, that one meal. It may be the only meal that you could count on, but you knew you had that one. So that, but even with that, if we were to say, well, let's just put free lunches everywhere, does that solve all the problems? No, it doesn't. So with that being said, we have to make sure that we understand that the Jasons of the world know that they have our support. Right, Rajan is not a protester. I will give you 1 to 2 protests a year if I give you that many. But trust me, trust and believe that what I'm doing on my side is equally as important to the African American situation in our country as what Jason's doing. And if I make a point of it to tear down Jason because I don't see the end in what he's doing, he sees it. I don't need to see it because that's his lane. So that's what I want to make sure that we're advocating for. And because Shakim, you remember when you were the guy with the bullhorn. People like, this dude isn't doing nothing. This dude, he just a guy with a bullhorn. He's just a loud dude with a bullhorn. But the truth is that Shakim knew what his ends were. And to Shakim, his ends justified the means. Elvin, you are the guy who you want to bring a light to these issues, right? You want people to know, hey, Breonna Taylor, if I got to drive to Tennessee or to Kentucky for people to know what's going on with Breonna Taylor, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And people may say, well, Elvin is just da-da-da-da-da. Well, guess what? Elvin's ends justify his means. Each of us has a role to play in this game. Now, the last point I wanted to make, and then I'll let y'all say what y'all need to say, or I'll get off or whatever. But we got to make sure that we're continually moving forward. We're continually moving forward. It's like you're in a war, right? If you are in a war and you're standing back and you're firing from your position, if we're just standing and firing from our position repeatedly, the war is not actually going anywhere. Nobody's going to win. In the military, they teach you a strategy, right? I fire while my buddy moves. I'm covering my buddy as he's moving forward. And then they cover me. And then I cover them. And then they cover me. And we're moving this whole thing forward together. We're moving this whole thing forward together. But that only happens if I can trust my buddy. If I don't trust my buddy to cover my back, when I'm not firing and I'm moving, my buddy's just like, that's not my problem. That's not the way I want to do it. Then guess what? When your buddy starts moving, that person dies. Now you're stuck by yourself. So I just want to make sure that I'm encouraging each and every one of us, man, to always remember that we have our individual races to run in this thing, but we're all in the same race. We just have different lanes.
Right. So let me, and I agree to a large extent, probably 95%. But one thing I know as being an activist, especially in this city, and as a lot of us have been in this, you got certain people who work against the movement.
Facts.
You got some people that work against the movement. And what ends up happening is you got to kind of look and see where their intentions lie. So a lot of times you might have people who come in and they'll say, you know what, let's see if we could take over. You know, let's see, because see, you got to understand if people's hearts are pure, because a lot of times I have people pop up out the blue and I'm like, yo, where'd this person come from? How in the world did we get here? Like we started off right here, then this person comes in from out of nowhere and now we're all the way over here. How did this happen?
But you know how that happens? You know how that happens? Yeah. Because we don't have any, like, again, when you don't have coalition,
you're breaking up.
That can happen. Y'all can hear me?
Am I the only person hearing them break up? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, no, his audio was good
beautiful.
on my end.
Yeah. Was that just me or was his audio breaking up?
I can hear.
I can hear fine.
I can hear from you. Well, give me one second, Elvin.
Rajon, hey, let me tell you, hey.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I just want to tell you, Rajon, that was beautiful, brother. That was good. That was good. And I definitely want everybody to understand that this is right here. You know, we all on the same page with it. Where, you know, look, I support the brothers. I support the brothers on their movement. I stood next to him when we was out there Sunday. And I told him, that's beautiful. I told him, I believe I told you, Jason. I said, you came out here, you made your mark, you made your stance. I believe that was you I was talking to, right, when I said that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you know, I told you, hey, you did it. You came out there, you made your stance, you made yourself heard. So yeah, you definitely, hey, I'm with it. I personally, like I said, this is just my personal. I don't care about the flaggers. Not saying I don't care about what he's doing. I just don't care about the flaggers. That's all. But what the brother has, what he has going on, we're gonna need that. Just like you said, because guess what? I might have an issue going on with CCSD or something, and I need help. And I need to be able to reach out and say, hey, Jason, look, man, I need your help. I need you to back me on this. I need you to come out here with me this.
Brother, look, I'm gonna jump in real quick and tell you because I'm gonna get off of here. But I'm gonna tell you this real quick. In this game, I started off the march in Somerville. That was almost the march had a reason. It was just after George Floyd, but it was almost an empty march. And I made a team up there. Change is coming. We're still on the board. Persephone, Charles Dove, we're still on the board. I started networking out. I made connections with, actually, I think, Elvin, you were my first real connection that I made out there right when we were doing the protest at the Calhoun statue, the counter protest. Then we kept moving it up. I met up with Justin, did the whole stand as one, worked with them thing. That's how I landed where I'm at right now. What you guys are saying, especially you, Brother Lewis, what you're saying right now is 110% where I'm at. Everybody has a lane. Everybody's moving on the same race, but we do have to create that united front.
Yes.
My job is not necessarily to go out there and protest. I have been planning and coordinating in the background. That's why this is Justin's game. But my job is to get the previous generation and the new generation on one accord to where everybody's backing everybody. We find the ones we find the weak links. We weed out the weak links. But when we got positive movement coming, we need all hands on deck. And that's where I'm at right now. So, I mean, all the feedback, all the criticism, everything else where some people see slights, I see room for improvement, and I see opportunities to continue growing and networking.
Love that.
I want to see Charleston come together. I come from Durham, North Carolina. I've only been down here about 3 years.
Go Blue Devils.
But we had our stuff together back at home. You know, our elders were still in place. They were still in play. They still had power when I was coming up. So we were able to still make those fights and take those stances. Here, there seems to be a void between the generations, and we need to figure out how to gap that void and bring everybody together.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say it too because after Sunday, I started reaching out to the people. I know a couple people downtown, and I started reaching out. Now, from what I am told, y'all supposed to be getting a permit. I'm waiting on the confirmation callback, but that was one of the first things I jumped on the horn and started calling like, yo, hold on, man. Hey, I want to know why these brothers didn't get a permit. So, you know, that was supposed to be addressed. That was supposed to be, you know, and I'm still waiting on the callback. I'm going to see Sunday because y'all going out there Sunday. I'll be there Sunday to see because if they're going to get a permit, y'all deserve a permit. And that's going to be the fight. You see what I'm saying? So I don't have to be Sunday morning standing out there, you know, Black Lives Matter. But best believe I'm on the back. I'm on the call. Like, yo, hold on.
Yo,
how these brothers ain't getting a permit?
Let me say that. I'm gonna say this. And all my time as an activist, I ain't never got. I can't never remember getting a permit. I to be honest, I ain't even care. You know what I'm saying? I don't even care. Like I never got a permit. I'm not saying it's not, because a lot of time a permit does protect you in a lot of ways, and that's cool. You do need it. So there is a place for it, but you know, a lot of times, you know, you don't need. I don't need no permit. I didn't need a permit, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But I don't know, man. Is it really like necessary? I mean, you still gonna do you. You know what I'm saying? You still gonna stand firm. I mean,
we are, but
It's
I don't.
necessary.
I'm where Elvis at. I don't want to see the soldiers get bammed off the field,
Exactly. That's
holding
all it is,
that
Keem.
ground, you know,
Exactly.
and then if they
Don't
do
cover
issue the
yourself.
permit, well, if they do issue the permit, then maybe that negates some of my fight. But it also still gives ground to show that we can force the system to work for us. That goes back to that
Exactly.
accountability game.
Exactly. That's all it is, Keem. It's look, eliminate all avenues of counterattack. If they're going to say what is it they told you? You have to have, if you got a permit, if you got 50 people or more, you have to have a permit. Is what they said.
No.
Yeah, that's what they said for a stand and
So
rally. Yes.
yeah. So you're right about that right now. You're right about that. So what happens is if you go out there with 58 people and they come to you and say you don't have a permit, then they can start locking people out. So you eliminate all that by, hey, look, y'all got your permit? Yeah, we're covered to be here. And they don't have to have them. You're legally covered. Because,
Now,
like I say, eventually, you know, listen, man, I'm going to be real with it. We in the South. We know that. There's no shock here that you didn't get a permit and they did. We're in the South.
right?
They got
No,
a monument for the Confederates. We know who they favor. We four
right.
black men
But
sitting here talking. You know, so we
I'm gonna
know.
tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this though, bro. Really and truthfully, it's not even about standing there yelling. We've already established that. The whole end game behind this is finding avenues to make a system that wasn't created for us work for us. I pay my taxes just like everybody else. I have a right to get that permit.
Yeah.
I pay my taxes just like everybody else. I have a right to assemble. I mean, those are my rights, and I'm not going to infringe on
Yeah,
somebody
you
else's
sure do.
rights. You know what I mean?
That's your
But
freedom. That's your First Amendment right. Right to assemble or peaceful. That's your
right,
First
but
Amendment right. And I stand behind that with you 100%. It's your First
I
Amendment
mean,
right.
I don't know if y'all saw the live video or not, but when them boys come with the permit, no matter how they got the permit, I'm the first one to tell you, well, if they got a permit legally, we can't be here. And if y'all want to hold it, hold it. But I'm telling you, the smarter avenue at this point would be we just go ahead and move and come back and take it when the permit expires, which is exactly what we did.
And
You know what I
that's
mean?
beautiful. That's beautiful.
So,
I mean, because they don't have a permit for the whole street. You can stand across the street.
right. And I mean, ultimately, it's making this system that's not written for us, not created for us, work for us, and then finding out how to fix those areas where it's not made for us and making those work in our favor in the future. Because it's not for me, it's for my kids, right?
Right.
Same
So
thing
you
that
know
y'all
what?
said back in the day. It's not for y'all, it's for your kids. And
Right.
it's going to be that continuous game until we fix all these gaps in the system.
Right. You know one of the things.
My fault, y'all. My fault.
Okay. One of the things though we desperately need in the city, and I think everybody can agree on this. And a lot of times when we start doing this, the white liberals disappear. I'm just gonna be 100% honest. When we start fighting for quality education,
Oh
they
boy.
disappear. They disappear on us.
Oh
See, and
boy.
now I need to be real. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been doing this for a long time. When we start talking about the schools and equality and education and all of that, when it comes time for our kids to go to school with their kids or our kids to somehow we fighting for funding, bro, they disappear on us. When we start talking about economics and economic growth and development and things like that, and subsidies and African American communities and all of that, some will stay around. I ain't gonna lie, but a lot of them get ghosts. They disappear, and you look around, you be like, damn, where was everybody who was out here, talking about Black Lives Matter? Now we talking about getting black children an academic magnet. We talk about getting black kids in Buse Academy. We start talking about taking some of them funds east of Cooper and bringing it into Chicora, Cherokee, in the southern end of the city of North Charleston. Oh, they get ghosts. And I know, So, I I gotta really, I call out, I see it for what it is, because a lot of times, man, like when you start really biting down on a lot of these issues, bro, then you lose their support immediately. I done seen it too many times. Go ahead, Rizwan.
I wanted to one great point. All right, great point. I think when we're talking about education, as a former teacher, I just left the classroom last June, and well, not last June, but the June before, 2019. And I think one thing that we when we talk about the schools and the way the educational system is set up right now, I don't think the goal should be to get our kids in the academic magnet. I think the goal should be to get the kids at academic magnet back into North Charleston High School. To get those kids who because the problem isn't black kids being in white schools. People seem to care more about schools with white kids in them. They do, right? They do. So how do we do that? I think we need to get rid of school choice. I think school choice has to go, because it sounds great to say, hey, we should be able to pick the school that we go to.
Right? Rajon, let me just pick you off you right quick, brother. God damn it. God damn it.
And so listen. Just hear me out, Shakim. All right? Because the problem is this. When we looked at integration, what they thought was going to happen was that they'd say, okay, cool, we're going to integrate these schools. So now black kids can go into white schools, white kids can go into black schools, and we'll have integration and resources will be equal across the board. Instead, what has happened is they pulled the kids, they said, okay, cool, we're going to integrate the schools, but now you can go to whatever school you want to go to. So now I, as a parent, can actually decide which school is going to get the resources, right? I want my kids. So I give this example. North Charleston High School, right? When I went to North Charleston High School, we were still majority black, but we had a high concentration of white kids. It was probably 60% black, 35 to 40% white. Like it was that close. And we didn't have a lot of Hispanics or Asians, but they probably made up 1 to 5%, I'd say. But you had a high balance of high kids and low kids. You had a high balance. Yes, you had the low kids. You had kids that struggled, right? But you also had those top level kids that are now doctors and lawyers and school superintendents and school principals and people that really, really, really lifted that. So what happens is you end up making the standard somewhere in the middle, right? So what ended up happening is they built academic magnet, school of the arts, military magnet. Guess what happened to those kids that used to be from here to here? Well, we pulled all those kids. We put those kids in academic magnet. We put those kids in the school of the arts. And we put those kids in military magnet. What do you have left? The bottom half. Well, who wants the bottom half? Nobody. So we're going to pull our kids in because we have school choice. We have the choice to put our kids in whatever school we want to. And we pull them out. And now, all of those kids, when I went to North Charleston High School, we were a 4A high school. North Charleston High School is barely a 2A high school now. Barely. And you go to that school. You know what's there. So when I talk about school choice, I do understand school choice at its best what it does. But what school choice actually does is it abandons schools like North Charleston High School and Burke High School too, where you can say, okay, cool, we live in a peninsula, but we're going to send our kids across a bridge to go to a different school. When we have Burke High School right in the neighborhoods that we're gentrifying. Right?
There you go. Rajon,
school choice has got to go.
All right, let me tell you why I disagree. Hold on.
I've been waiting for this brother to say, let me finish this. Let me tell you something. He is right. And I'm going to tell you, school choice is only the key for gentrification. Because if you got rid of school choice right now, all these neighborhoods that are moving in North Charleston, behind North Charleston High School, all these white folks moving on the east side, if they had to send their kids to Burke and North Charleston High School, their house would be for sale tomorrow. The only reason why they're willing to move on the Pennsylvania of downtown Charleston, they're willing to move and put neighborhoods behind North Charleston High School is because they don't have to send their kids to the neighborhood school.
Hold on, wait,
They can send their kids across town.
Elvin.
Okay, hold on. So let me make this point. Let me make this point. You know why I am so pro school choice? Because when you have people like a Dr. Joyce Coleman, who could have put together Prestige Preparatory Academy, if you had, she had a lot of things she did that I didn't agree with. A lot of things I didn't agree with.
Yeah, but she messed that up, Ken.
Hold up. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. She messed that up. If you have a group of educators that can sit down and we can start creating our own institutions and have more control over the way how the school is run with your own school boards. We got, even though a lot of these things are started by white people and for white people, you got to think a strategy of war is we can come in and do the same thing and utilize it for our kids.
Yeah.
Now, I do believe we need to strengthen traditional schools because not everybody has the option to go other places. So we need to strengthen traditional schools. I didn't like what McMaster did, giving all of that money to private schools. I hated that. That was sick, gross, and disgusting.
Pause.
Okay.
I want to, and that's the point that I was going to, because if you are a parent who is sending your kid, instead of saying this school on the peninsula, Burke High School or North Charleston High School is here, but I want to send my kid to a school, a private school, while living in this neighborhood, Governor McMaster just gave them $32 million to do exactly that.
Right. So this is right. So this is the thing. Just say we had our own private schools set up. Guess what? We could have checkmated that. We could have checkmate McMaster because when you start thinking about independence and being independent from the system, when you really start thinking about small government, bruh, that's the key right there. So if we had our own private schools, let me get that money. Let us get that money. Hold on, let me finish. Go ahead.
Let me address that when you get back.
Okay, let me finish because now we talking about a level of do we really want to be free and control our education system?
I see.
Now with charter schools and other hybrids, they got all these hybrid now, public partner relationship and whatever.
Right.
They have the ability to maneuver more than what traditional public schools have.
There you go.
So this is the thing.
This is not the same playing field.
Okay, but hold on. No. It's the same playing field. You know why? Because we have the smarts, the ingenuity, the educators. We can do it ourselves.
Yeah,
but the thing is, hold on.
All right, go ahead.
I know the white man takes advantage of it. I know that. What I'm saying is we have the opportunity ourselves to take advantage of it. Who can? Hold on. Let me finish. Because all you're going to do is say, oh, well, they do this and they do that. So
no, I'm not. I'm not going to say that at all.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that at all.
Y'all are funny.
This is the thing.
Me and Kim do this all day.
Yes. When we start looking for ourselves at opportunities to wean our way off the system, bruh, that can be a gold mine.
But
if we
can't ignore public education. You still have to address public schools.
I didn't say that.
Even if you make your own school right now, Keem, right? You're not going to have a school big enough to address every child still left in the public school system. So what happens is
nobody ever said that. That's a straw man argument.
So what happens
Nobody ever said that. Nobody ever said that.
Let's just use LeBron James School. Right? LeBron's got a beautiful school that's doing excellent in Cleveland. However, every child in Cleveland is not going to LeBron's school. So there are still kids that are stuck in the public school system in Cleveland that is failing.
LeBron's school is a public school.
But what I'm saying, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's not public. What I'm saying though is that LeBron's school is great. His school is doing great. But without addressing all the other failing public schools, there are still kids attending those other failing public schools.
But you're making an argument.
Let me tell you why. The difference is what needs to happen with public school is the principals need to be able to address and run the public schools the best they for their school. What happens in public school is this. You go to charter school, you go to private school, they got their own board. When they get a kid in that school who's messed up, who's doing all kind of problems, they can send that kid back to his home public school. They get rid of it. Public school doesn't have that option.
Okay, but you're not. Nobody's arguing that. Nobody ever argued that point. Nobody ever argued that. You just took a straw man argument because I didn't ever say that was the case.
Yo,
I agree with you. I'm not in disagreement with you on that.
I'm gonna drop in real quick, and then I really am out. I just didn't want to.
Okay, yeah, we about to end this.
Yeah. Hey, this is what we do, dog. This is what we do. You chat it out with us, man. This be all day.
I didn't want to dip out on an important topic, and then be like, "Oh yeah, see, he ran away when they talking about public schools." But
nah, you good.
I'm gonna tell you, I come from an area where school of choice has always been the thing in that area, and it works for that area. And there are advantages of school choice, but I'm gonna tell you what, in this area with the level of gentrification that's happening here, force the money back into the communities. If they're gonna gentrify your community and they're gonna build all this stuff around your community and they're gonna up the housing market and make it next to impossible to survive in that community and you're still holding on, then your kids deserve the same education as the kids that are coming out of those communities that are gentrifying, those gentrified areas. So I say force them into the public school system that they're in, only because if they did that, at least it levels playing ground for all the kids coming up behind it.
Yep. All right, but then at that point you get strangled by the curriculum. You don't have enough leeway. You know, we gotta utilize all options of war, like Ray John said. I believe public schools need to be strengthened. We do definitely need to. We get
how. If the kids, public school only gets funding by the amount of kids going to the school.
Okay,
they only get the funding by the amount of kids going to school.
Hold up.
So if you're losing kids, you're not going to get all the funding you need for those schools.
Okay, but check this out. A lot of time it's not funding that's necessarily killing the schools. A lot of time it's not funding. A lot of time was killing the schools is, and Razan could talk about this all day, the lack of ability that we put on ourselves to support our teachers, to support the schools in our communities.
No
like a lot of that falls on us, because if you go and look at some of the better off schools, they don't, Razan can speak to this too, they don't have to beg their communities to get involved and to donate money and to help. So we gotta oh, go ahead, Razan, because I see him putting his.
Yeah,
but
you know you already you just
we all had this. Go ahead.
You know so when we start talking about these schools, right?
Go ahead.
We got to be honest about a few things, right? So we got to be honest about the fact that we talk about, it takes a village to raise a child, but so often the villagers abandon the teachers. The teachers get left out there in the village all by themselves. Everything becomes a teacher's responsibility. Everything. And I can say this as a former educator who has a lot of respect for teachers. But all you hear is the negative about teachers. My teacher don't like, my child teacher don't like me. My child teacher don't like them, and my child teacher don't do nothing. They don't give any homework and they don't help with nothing. Trust me, teachers do all of this. Even racist teachers do all of this. And I can tell you, because I can tell you what some teachers that I knew were racist, but they was good teachers. Because you don't go into education because you don't go into it for money. You don't go into it for the accolades. They don't call you into Oprah and give you a brand new car because you become a teacher. You don't make a whole bunch of money. So the thing that you really are there for are the children. So even if you don't like black people, I've seen racist people love black children because they're in their classroom. Now they may put them in that mindset of, oh, that's the good one. That's one of the good ones. And for that year, that student is getting the best that teacher has to offer. Now, are there bad apples in the bunch? You better believe it. And if there's a bad apple, unlike police, when we talk about police officers, if there's a bad teacher, trust me, other teachers are calling that teacher out. We will not stand up and say, hey, we know she cussed this one kid out and called him all kinds of names, but all of us ain't bad. No. We will all be on the front lines with you saying that teacher needs to go. But what happens when we talk about education is, like you said, Shakim, we have our best and brightest. You talk about black teachers are amazing. I've seen, like, when you talk about pedagogy, you talk about like the ability to issue education and to help administer knowledge. Black teachers, bar none, like check your top teachers of the school year every year. To say we make up so little of the nation. I think we're what? 14% of the nation?
Yeah.
We're 14% of the nation. Check the stats when it comes to teacher of the year across the nation. Black teachers kill it. Black teachers kill it. So it's not that we don't have a level of skill when it comes to teaching. The problem comes in when we talk about, like Shakim talks about all the time, the ability to maintain our own. What kind of energy are we trying to give our own? Now I'm going to give you an example of 2 schools. I taught at 2 schools during my teaching career. One was a majority black school and one was a majority white school. Now, this is not a generalization of all schools that are a majority black or a majority white. This is just my experience at 2 schools in 2 different districts that had 2 different demographics. I'll make sure I make that clear before I say it. One school was a rural school, right? One school was a rural school, majority black, vast majority black. Right. If we wanted to bring parents into the building, we had to A, give away free food. We had to give away free food, or the kids had to be performing something. Other than that, we cannot get parents into school. You can talk about donuts for dads. You can talk about a PTA meeting. You can talk about all these different things. We also, another thing that we could get kids to come to the parents to come to the school for was when we had what we called our May Day festival, when like it was like a day, like it was a carnival, it was a festival. So we'd have parents come for that. Outside of that, if the kids weren't performing, like if they weren't singing and dancing, no, they were not coming. If they weren't giving away free food, they weren't coming. So every PTA meeting, we had some kind of food. Even with that, the highest attended PTA meetings without food, without singing or dancing, still only had roughly 10 to 15 parents. 10 to 15 parents. So then let's go to my other school, right? The other school is in the suburbs. Majority white school, right? PTA meetings are packed. How do you think this testing was at each school?
No, I can imagine.
How do you think the schools performed respectively when it came to testing? How do you think those schools performed in terms of disciplinary issues? How do you think those schools performed across the board? That's not a black and white thing.
No, I tell you what we're talking about. What I've learned, because I've done a lot. I do a lot. I've never taught, but I've done a lot in the schools. With schools, and I've been over. So what we talking about is poverty. When you're dealing with in low income level neighborhoods with kids that attend low income schools, you're not going to get a lot of parents. Now, I'm not going to say all parents. You got a couple parents who just don't give a damn, who won't come down to the school and they live around the corner. But a lot of parents work 2-3 jobs. A lot of them work at night. They work all through the night. So it's very hard to get a lot of parental support in things and after school activities. And also, when you deal with kids that come from low income and there's always a high crime, one thing I respect about teachers, and this is why I don't like to compare, a kid from Mount Pleasant is going to learn, and I'm not saying all, but most kids who live in Mount Pleasant live a pretty decent, fair life. When you take a kid from out the Macon, this kid who knows Mount Pleasant go to school and he's fine. He had a good night. He had a good night's rest. He probably had a good dinner. Woke up to a great breakfast. Mom and dad saw him out the door. The kid from North Charleston out the Macon, he might not even have saw his mom that night. Might have had to sleep through the gunshots. Might have woke up and went to the bus stop through the yellow tape. So when he get to school, he ain't get no breakfast. when you're dealing with poverty and low income stuff, and you have to teach those kids different. You have to address that element before we can even start to educate these kids.
Right.
So that's all I want to say on that.
But black teachers do have the ability to do it.
Yeah, for some reason, y'all, Facebook has cut out on us, and all I have are the Twitters and YouTube viewers. So I don't know, for some reason, Facebook.
Put it on YouTube.
Yeah, most definitely. Shout out to my YouTube followers and shout out to my Twitter followers because y'all still on. But for some reason,
I'm gonna get a Twitter. I don't have one, but I'm gonna get a Twitter. Watch, I'm telling you.
Yeah, you definitely got to get it.
You gonna be nuts on
fellas, but hey, man, I really enjoy, man. We gotta get this discussion back up, most definitely.
For sure, man.
Hey, because we ain't even talk about the police. We ain't even talk about that, and I was waiting for us to get on that. How do we feel about the police thing downtown? More police presence. I thought we were gonna chop on that. Yeah, we dropped a big one on that one. We supposed to talk on that.
Right, and you know what? And this was something interesting.
You freezing up on me, Ken.
You said I froze up on you? You said I froze up?
Freezing up. Rajon, is he freezing on you?
No, I can. No, he just played a video.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. That's what it is. My bad. Go ahead.
What video was that?
Okay.
Yes. I just want to let you know that. You go off and you put paws on somebody, then you feel like a bigger man. You know what I'm saying?
Switch around. We gotta go in front of Trump Tower. Let's go. You guys out of the spot, Trump? Let's go. Yo, now. Light it up. Let's go. Streets closed. Let's go. Everyone out.
Black Lives Matter in lowercase. All for it. Black lives do matter. But when you capitalize these letters, it's the organization. The organization is absolutely a Marxist, domestic, terrorist organization.
Somebody ought to tell the racists that. Somebody ought to tell the racists, the Klan, that Black Lives Matter.
All lives are not getting shot in their back. All lives is not getting killed in police custody. All lives is not getting.
So I see. Go ahead, Rizan. You about to say something?
All right. I'm trying to figure out how to. You know me. I'm very big on figuring out how to say what I want to say.
All right.
I want to make something really, really clear. For me, I'm not speaking for anybody but myself. We have to respect people's right to protest, even when we disagree with them.
Right.
That, like,
First Amendment.
I think it's corny. I really think it's corny to like try to break up somebody else's protest while begging to be respected in your protest. I think that's really corny.
Amendment.
I do not agree. I do not agree with the Klan. Right? I despise the Klan for all the reasons that people should despise the Klan. But I'm not going to attend a Klan rally to protest against the Klan. They have the right to do that. If they get their, we talked earlier about the permit, Shakim. Like, if they get their permit and they go through the right processes to be able to protest, one, I'm going to let them protest, and two, I'm not going to attend because when I attend, I'm giving it more energy than it would have if we just ignore them. Those people downtown, I think, Shakim, you said this several times, and I think this is the point that y'all were making when you earlier when they were on. Those dudes, those 3 or 4 people that's out there, we are giving them light. We are giving them energy. When we go out there, more people come out because now it's a thing. Now it has life. Now it has energy. Other than that, it's just 3 or 4 crazy white people waving flags, sweating. That's what I wanted to say. I thought that was really corny that the dude went and tried to grab the people's flag. I don't agree with President Trump, but I'm not trying to snatch their flag like that. I get it. People saw Moo do it, and they want to be Moo. All right, cool. R.I.P. to Moya. I love that guy. That was one of my people.
Yeah.
But we like Moo was doing that for a specific reason for a specific flag. We don't all got to do that, man. We don't got to live this way.
All right,
Hey,
man.
y'all.
Listen, yo.
Hey,
Hey, I gotta get
we
going.
gonna get on.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta get going, y'all, boy, man. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, y'all, man. Nice discussion, man. We're gonna continue this later. Like I said,
Hey,
Facebook.
let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. Because what I want us to talk, me, you, and Rajon, let's get on and talk about. We didn't touch it. And this is a big one. We need to talk about what they're gonna do with the police presence. How we feel about that. We need to, you know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to get into
What
it
time?
tonight, but that was a big one. Hey, what Rux? Let me know. Hey,
Okay.
y'all know I'll jump in from the truck.
Okay, I'll let y'all know. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the one tomorrow. We got to talk about that.
Okay,
Gotta
we're gonna
get on
do that. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right,
All
y'all. Y'all
right,
brothers, take care, man. Enjoy. All right, peace.